You know, nothing in this world doesn't surprise me nowadays, especially we living in the era of 45 and in this system, in a system of Caucasian terrorism, aka white supremacy. And nothing worse or more dangerous in this era is nothing than some self-centered, self-loathing, narcissistic, egotistical, berating black bootlick. Now, it is a lot of them. It's a lot of them. Myself has ethered, and I've called out several times, whether it's here on YouTube or whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Insta scam, and whether it's on, especially on Twitter. And I've also made it aware on my 2 platforms, social media networks that I support very heavily, which is the Black Spot, and Black Junction. You know, but Raymond Anthony Lewis, otherwise known to y'all as Ray Lewis, or as Torian Rain referred to him as Reverend Ray Ray. You know, this man, I don't even want to call him no man, because all the muscles that he got, and he has no spine. It's probably one of the most asinine SOBs I've ever witnessed. And people, you wonder down here how I know. Well, how I know, because me being born and raised right here in Miami, Florida, we know all about fuck ass Ray Lewis. Now, anybody that's followed me for a long time, I've always expressed my disdain toward this piece of shit. Ray Lewis is basically, to me, is a coward. You know, just recently, like yesterday morning, since it's Tuesday morning, August 1st. So, you know, I'm starting a new series that's coming up later on, another video I'm gonna load up, and y'all gonna love it. Was on Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, and the biggest thing that's you know is being talked about is in reference to his former NFL team, the Baltimore Baltimore Ravens. I call them pigeons because all they've been doing recently is being about getting everybody hopes up to signing our man Colin Kaepernick. But as LVZ at Ness had always stated, that is nothing more than just KaeperTRICKS. You know, and Ray Lewis, and they go to him, which I believe the Ravens set that up about his advice on that. Now, I've already proved my theory on why idiots like Ray Lewis, like Shaq, the manatee, the dugong known as Jason Whitlock, and several other of these quote-unquote brothers, why they have a disdain toward Colin Kaepernick. Reason speaking, one word: jealousy. And it hasn't proven any more further than it was on Undisputed last night. Yesterday morning. I'm sorry. You got to understand, I'm trying to hold my composure here and all this stuff like that, but my vernacular, and I'm known for going in because this motherfucker here really makes me damn sick, and I just don't like him, period. I can speak you some stuff about that. So, like I said, went to Undisputed, and I'm gonna just go ahead and y'all watch it, and I'm gonna just give y'all my commentary in between this and afterwards. Let's just get busy right now.
Bisciotti spoke at a forum for fans yesterday and said his team had discussions with Colin Kaepernick about possibly joining the Ravens. Bisciotti said he has spoken to Ray Lewis and sponsors about the possibility of bringing Cap to Baltimore. Let's take a listen to more from Bisciotti.
quantify hurting the brand, I know that we're going to upset some people, and I know that we're going to make people happy that we stood up for somebody that has the right to do what he did. You know, nonviolent protesting is something that we've all embraced. I don't like the way he did it. Personally, I kind of liked it a lot when he went from sitting to kneeling. I don't know. I'm Catholic. We're not kneeling. We're very sensitive to it, and we're monitoring.
Hold on. This is Baltimore Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti, or Bisciotti, or I'm gonna call him Steve Bisciotti, because he's a bitch, just what he just said. Now, how you gonna say that you embraced the nonviolent protesting that Colin Kaepernick did, but you got a problem with the way he did it? Very contradictory. See, Steve Bisciotti, we just gonna call him that for the rest of this, is nothing more than just a Caucasian terrorist, a white supremacist. Plain and simple. Sounds like that idiot that resigned from his job from the Tangerine administration. Let's continue.
Bring it, and we're still, as Ozzy says, scrimmaging it, and we're trying to figure out what's the right tact, and so pray for us. We do want to win games, and I'm not sure right now that he is going to help us do that.
We're joined now by Ray Lewis. Welcome back, Ray.
Good to see you guys.
So you've talked to Steve. What's going on here?
Yeah, you know, this ain't the first time. Shannon knows this from the history of what I do in Baltimore since I was playing. Me, Steve, Ozzy, we have conversations about whoever, and the bottom line.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt on one thing. Just for the record, to my people, all shout out to my peoples down there in Baltimore and all that. Who have I spoken to personally on personal occasions, and I asked them about this scumbag that he say he does a lot for the community of Baltimore and all that? Well, I'm here to debunk that. No, the fuck he doesn't. He doesn't do nothing here in South Florida either. And this is where he's from, particularly from Lakeland.
And you know, you think about two topics here. The bottom line is, can he help us win? That's the bottom line. And so when you get away from all this other whatever everybody else wants to talk about, like I told Steve, I said, Steve, you got to act. This is what we're asking ourselves right now. How bad is Joe hurt? How soon does Joe come back? And does Colin Kaepernick help us right now? Because if he don't help us, then what we doing? That's like bringing in a third running back, but you got two running backs already there. Nah. And so I think that's where we started to really, because we both agree, Mike, and I've said this many times, we both agree, like, what he did, I'm 100% for racial injustice. 100%. Trust me, right? I lived it myself. So you don't have to convince me of that part. How he did it, totally different thing. I don't totally agree with that. But you talk about bringing him in as a Baltimore Raven. The thing that we talked about the most, then I got on the phone with Ozzy, the thing we talked about the most was, what does the core, what's the temperature of the core says? When these young guys, these Humphreys, these new guys that's come in there, this new core that you're trying to put together, where does that take them? Right? Does this come in and be purely football? Is he purely dialed in on football? Because if he is, then we have to weigh that option. If he's not, then we have to figure something else out.
And what was your view of how much he could help them win?
And my view realistically is, how bad is Joe hurt? Because if Joe is out one more week, let's say 2 more weeks, that's preseason. Then really? Then why take that risk to have him come play a couple of preseason games?
Okay, what if Joe is higher risk going through the year with an iffy back that could go out at any time? Would you rather have Ryan Mallett or Colin Kaepernick as his backup?
I never played with either one of them. So it's...
Wait a minute. Hold the hell up. You lying SOB. How the hell you never played with neither one of them? Ray, you shithead. 2012 Super Bowl, New Orleans. You played against Kaepernick in the Super Bowl and he tore your ass up. Nearly beat your ass. Now you can miss me with that bullshit. He's already coming out the gate line. And also, people, look at this too. Look at his body language. He's mumbling. He's falling over the words, repeating the same thing. Body language getting shit like this. And look at Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe looking at him side eye too, like looking at him like, man, nigga, I know you ain't about to be about this bullshit. You still out here cooning. You ain't learned a damn thing. 42 years old, and you still out here doing this. You know, but we're gonna say the best for it though.
You know what I'm saying? So and that's what I think. Every time they come to me from a different perspective. I'm gonna come from the beat of the locker room. I'm just talking about the beat of the locker room. The beat of the locker room is give me the best player that can help us win. Yep. That's the beat. And so going through the whole thing, I think one of the interesting things, because we talked for a while, one of the interesting things when you hear about you're gonna please somebody, you're not gonna please this person. Okay, that's life, right? You're gonna piss some people off and you're gonna make some people happy. Okay, whatever. Yep. But at the end of the day, what I'm asking us to do as an organization is let's make a real decision that what we're gonna do. If we're gonna do it, do it. But if you're gonna do it, make sure we know why we're doing it, and hopefully it's to win.
Well, listening to Steve talk, if he doesn't think Kaepernick can help them win, what are we discussing? Why are we even having this conversation? We should have. He said it. He's not even given an opportunity. He said he doesn't believe that Colin Kaepernick can help them win.
He said, "I'm not sure."
So what? And
he told me that. But he told me that now, and that's why I want to make sure we're clear here. Mm-hmm. Right? There's no. Oh, if he did this or why he did that. Nah, because we both talked about that. That's fine with us.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah. You happen to be there when they brought Dante Stallworth in. He was driving under the influence and killed a pedestrian.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Did Steve talk to fans, sponsors, and you?
Yeah, actually.
So he talked to you on that one?
Yeah.
Okay, when Suggs had his incident with his wife, did Steve Bisciotti talk to fans, sponsors, and you?
Talk to me for sure.
Okay. So that's 3 for 3. So Dante's situation.
There's no issue since I was playing that has not been discussed with either me, Steve, me, Ozzy, me, John. Okay. It's never changed, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to give any more merit because of this Colin Kaepernick. You say, oh, why did they call? You know what I'm saying? Nah,
I'm not surprised because I know you're one of the few players that's not a quarterback that's held in regard. Like teams look at a John Elway, teams look at a Dan Marino. That's why you have a stadium, a statue outside the stadium. But see, when I listen to Steve talk, he says, I like how he went from sitting to kneeling, but he never mentioned why Colin Kaepernick kneeled. Now, the very thing that Colin Kaepernick was protesting is the very thing that President Trump encouraged on Friday, which was police brutality. Now,
exactly, Shannon. Thank you for clearing that up, and especially about the Dante Stallworth thing. Dante Stallworth ran down here in Miami, right on Miami Beach, off the 79th Street Causeway, which turns, when you go on the beach, that turns into 71st Street. He was driving under influence. I think he was leaving a nightclub, drunk, driving, ran over a person crossing the street, killed them, and he got off. Of course, they're going to go to Ray because guess what? Ray beat a double murder charge. But, unlike another former football player that was in the 95 trial, the so-called trial of the century, O.J. Simpson. The difference between Ray Lewis and O.J. Simpson, O.J. didn't kill nobody. Ray Lewis did. The hell with that. But see, Notice too, like I said, when I said Ray Lewis body language and how nervous he is, yeah, because he knows Shannon finna eat his ass up. Shannon calling bullshit on his jump. Yeah, they were teammates in 2000 when the Ravens made that run to the Super Bowl in Tampa and they beat the Giants. Shoot, man, look here, Ray full of his shit, man. He full of his shit. And yeah, and I'm glad Shannon brought up the thing about with President Tangerine. You know, when he made that announcement in front of the slave patrol, police officers, saying that, you know, that when you get these thugs, code word for black people, you know, racist code word for nigger, and, you know, don't be soft on them, be more rough on them and stuff. And if I recall my memory correct, didn't Ray Lewis went to Trump Tower and took a photo op with Tangerine? I'll pull that up in a second.
Steve Bisciotti owned that team, and in 2015, you were there. You and I talked about it. Something happened to Freddie Gray. He lost his life for police brutality. I have yet to hear no one talk about that. Right. I have yet to hear Steve Bisciotti talk about that.
I know, but so let's be very careful with that for this simple reason. Right now, there's over 200 plus murders in Baltimore. How many people you got talking about that? Nobody. So I'm just saying, before you put somebody in a pickle to say,
no, I'm not putting him in a pickle, Ray. I'm talking. Okay, let me ask you this: when Pookie shoots a Willie, right, they find Pookie. What Pookie going? He going to jail. Right. When these police shoot these unarmed black men and women, even on camera, where they going, Ray? Back on the force. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the police brutality. See, what they're trying to do is that when we talk about police brutality, they're talking about Chicago, they're talking about Detroit, they're talking about Baltimore. Okay. You want me to come up with a solution that you helped put me in.
I'm 100%.
Like I said, when I said Shannon Sharpe gonna pop off on Ray, he popped off on him. Look at Shannon, how he looking at Ray. Ray coming with these old asinine comments. Ain't no way asshole here can debunk what Shannon Sharpe just said. You know, because all Ray's only go to when it comes to these issues, when it comes to police brutality against unarmed black men, women, and children by these race cowards who pretended to be law enforcement officers, who also sits in a DA's office and sits in the judge's chambers. You got these old buck dancing bootlicks like him that's gonna get out there and try to make all the excuses in the world to justify the actions, so that way Massa can still be giving them a check. I ain't got no problem with a brother getting your money, motherfucker. I always say, you know, get your paper. But all money isn't good money. And if you got to get out here and sell your soul, it means you don't have no spine, you don't got no nuts. Then I'm going to tell you like this. If it come down to that, then damn it, I'd rather down my feet like a man and instead of live the rest of my life out as a pussy ass coward. Can't do it. You know, Shannon always keep it 100 when it comes to that. And the look on Shannon giving Ray Lewis, Shannon Sharpe's a Cancer. Okay? Water sign like myself. Okay? We don't play that shit. He can see through Ray bullshit. Ray Lewis is a Taurus, so sorry, Taurian Rain. Yeah, he's a bull, man. But he's full of bullshit with Ray Lewis. Even Skip Bayless even looking at Ray Lewis side eye like, nigga, what the fuck you on? And Joy Taylor. Look, Joy, I got her back all day. Joy from Miami, okay? Miami born and bred. You know, here, we know the deal. We see through the bullshit. We know the game. So we see through the bullshit. Don't matter whether you from North Miami, South Miami, West Miami, East Miami. Don't matter. Shit. Let's continue.
Understand what you're saying? And what I'm trying to tell you is there's no issue with what you're talking about with police brutality. We're sitting here as men. Yeah. So let's understand this. We're sitting here as men. And me and you, as men, ourselves, not watch nobody else deal with police brutality. I lived it. Oh, I know. So understand that. Just understand the dynamic of what we're talking about. I'm not talking about if this person stood out. It's not too many people. Say it for what it is. It ain't too many people gonna stand up to go into black neighborhoods and worry about black folks killing themselves. That's factual. So sooner or later, then we figure that out, and then we're gonna start taking care of ourselves. So when I started to start to understand these things, Shay, what I started to understand was that ain't Steve Bisciotti's fight. What happened to Freddie Gray? That ain't no owner's fight. Yes, it is, though, right? If it is, this is America. If it is, then all of our owners should get together and go in these urban neighborhoods and clean it up. Why wouldn't you? Because, Ray, they don't care, because it's an issue they're never going to have to face. It's people like you and I that's been there and know people that's faced these issues. You talking about Steve Bisciotti is never going to have to worry about the police beating him or a family member down. Jerry Jones, Mr. Kraft, they never going to have to worry about that. That's what I just said. So why should they care? They should care because it's the United States of America. You care about what's going on in the Ukraine. You care about what's going on in Venezuela. How many times before any of these things came up? Before you was playing? After you playing? How many times it happened? But it pretended just asking how many times did it happen? It was going on a lot, but the advent of social media. We'll go back and forth. Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Time out. So let's go back to, can he help the Baltimore Ravens win? Let's forget about all the simple as that. And what I saw from that video of Steve Bisciotti talking to a fan forum at your stadium with the commissioner up on stage, sitting on a stool right down from him, listening to all this, I saw a show that I did not like, that left a bad taste in my mouth because it came across like it was all for show. That he merely wanted to deliver a message to his sponsors and his fans, and ultimately to us here, that, well, we're thinking about it. We're scrimmaging this. That's the term he used, that Ozzy and him are going back and forth about it. We're thinking hard about this. And I didn't like it, but then I like this. And then he makes a joke about being Catholic. We kneel as Catholics. And it came across to me as more lip service, to the point that he even volunteered, we're also going to bring in Robert Griffin III for a workout. You are? Why? Because if we're talking about who can help you win the most, and I'm the biggest RG3 fan on the planet, or at least used to be, Colin Kaepernick was miles ahead in performance last year of Robert Griffin III, who was a shell of himself in the 5 games he played for the Cleveland Browns. Kaepernick was pretty good last year, 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Yes, right. And his QBR, my favorite stat, was significantly better than Robert's, because I'm not sure Robert, he's just barely hanging on to any job that he could get in this league. But clearly, Colin Kaepernick, on his resume, on what he did in his first 2 years of starting with Jim Harbaugh, who then got pushed out the back door and sort of left Colin just twisting in the wind in San Francisco with a bad football team. Clearly, he's a much better bet right now than RG3. But it comes across like, for show, that Steve Bisciotti has given us, well, we're going to bring in another African-American quarterback with sort of the same skill set as Colin. So is that okay with everybody? Because we're going to give him a tryout. And it's like you're trying to convince everybody that we tried, but we couldn't get there. And it's the same.
Skip Bayless hit the nail right on the head. And I'm sorry, I got to give Skip Bayless my props. I've said several times, as well as a few of others, Ticket, Town, we all say, it's, even Black Reality TV even said that, you know, Skip Bayless is a SWS, expected white supremacist. But, you know, the one thing I would give Skip Bayless a lot of credit on is that he's consistent. But on this, he hit it on the money. This was a motherfucking money shot. Notice he said, like, yeah, that was Steve Bisciotti thing. Is like, okay, y'all talking about you, it's all nothing but talking. I said it. Me and LVZ Ness said it. that we said that, man, they running KaeperTRICKS. You feel me? And see, so what he does, they go ahead and go out and get Robert Griffin III, RG3. Ooh, there ain't been shit ever since he got out of Baylor. Okay? In other words, they just want to put another black face in there to just go show, see, we not racist. Bisciotti is a good guy. We bringing in another black quarterback. Yeah, you're bringing in another quarterback, but you don't want to bring in the best quarterback that's been reigned unsigned, and that's Colin Kaepernick. And see, you bringing this bootlick up here, Ray Lewis, who has a total disdain for Colin Kaepernick. I said it's all about jealousy.
Thing Pete Carroll did in Seattle. They made that so public. We're trying. We brought him in. It didn't work him out, but they talked and talked. What are your priorities? What's important to you right now? That's what Pete Carroll said. And his locker room, boy, that Seattle locker room, they were on fire for Colin Kaepernick. That's the best fit in the world for Colin right now is the Seattle locker room. Although I can make a case that the second best bet for Colin right now would be your locker room with the Ravens, right?
Yes.
Just because of Ozzie in the sort of the senior leadership and subs.
And the demographic,
the dynamic that you built and left the legacy of Ray Lewis in that locker room. So that's the second best. But all I heard from the owner was lip service. I think he was trying to tell everybody, we tried to get there, we thought hard about it, but we can't get there, so we're going to bring in Robert Griffin III. Baloney. I'm sorry, I'm calling lip service on you. I'm calling it's all for show.
Okay, I get it. I keep saying this, and before we jump into everything else,
like he about to go in on Ray.
Our conversation, whether you believe whatever Steve Bisciotti is saying or not, it came down to one simple conversation. And every scout goes through the same exact thing. We live this our entire lives. Every player is evaluated for one simple reason. Can you help me or not?
My bottom line, from a distance, Colin Kaepernick is much better than Ryan Mallett. He just is. He just is. I can just show you his resume. He's much better. Again, for his priorities, I don't even care. I just know he's better right now.
This is a patch-up problem. Okay? If Joe Flacco is hurt for a week, they're getting a patch-up problem.
All right.
Patch-up. We've lived it our entire lives.
Okay, even if it's a patch-up problem.
We did it our entire lives.
You know about back injuries. There's a 100% chance Joe Flacco is going to take a helmet in his back. There's a 100% chance Joe Flacco is going to get sacked and he's going to land on his back.
Or just twist the wrong way.
If he's out for a substantial amount of time, do you have more trust in Ryan Mallett or Colin Kaepernick? Those are the questions. Forget if you want to say put all this other stuff aside. Let's just put this in. I'm put this in a nice little neat box.
I just told you it's easy to put it there. Okay. Because the question is simple.
Okay.
The question is simple. We keep using ifs. You can't if in our business.
But that's the reason they bring in Colin Kaepernick. No. If Joe hadn't got hurt, they wouldn't even talk to Colin.
But and that's why the question still goes back to something very simple. It's a very simple question. Like, we keep making this other issue about, if we want to cover up these things, you don't have to cover up what somebody else done. Okay. It's simple.
So Colin is better than Ryan Mallett, right?
Well, hold on. You said, Ray, you keep saying we keep going to if.
Yeah.
We're in this situation because if Joe didn't get hurt, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Shannon, that's why everybody brings in 2 and 3 players at a position.
Yeah.
This has never changed. Like, the method of us having conversations of who we bring in and where we sit them at, we've never, like, why does this conversation get so much more attention?
So Ray Lewis, I'm going to put you on the spot.
You can't put me on the spot because I have no interest in nothing that they're doing.
Okay, but if you're running the Baltimore Ravens today, what do you do?
I sit down and have a conversation with the best available player that can help my team win. After I evaluate my quarterback, it's protocol. This is what we do. It's what we do.
You had Ryan Mallett on your team. What do you need to evaluate? You saw him. You see him in practice. Somebody threw those 5 interceptions on Saturday. Who did that, Ray?
I guess Ryan Mallett.
Oh, what? So
Okay,
first of all, if Ryan Mallett was not playing that bad, they would not even entertain Colin Kaepernick. We keep saying, you say you don't want to do if Joe Flacco hadn't got hurt, they wouldn't entertain Colin Kaepernick, because if they thought he could play, they'd have brought him in before Joe Flacco got hurt. So they don't believe he can play. And if that's a factual point, if they don't believe he can play, then that's my point. You just made my whole point. I believe Ozzie Newsome believes he can play. Okay. So I'm not so sure, because Ozzie Newsome is going to probably have to defer this one on up the ladder a little.
So you know what the Baltimore Ravens really need right now? A young Ray Lewis and a young Shannon Sharpe, and then they'd be just fine. They'd be back in business. Am I right? Am I right?
They would be. Yeah. They would be.
Although, to Skip's point about lip service, and to your point about them signing the best available quarterback, it's not that simple, or you wouldn't have brought up the sponsors and the fans and the situation. So it's not just about how he plays. The Ravens have just signed Josh Woodrum.
Who's that?
A quarterback. What? He was on the Giants last year.
Well, they just signed another guy who was like in some sub-arena league.
Yeah.
So hold on. So I want to make sure, just for my edification. Okay. So you signed a guy that was selling cars. Okay, he's an arm. Now you sign this guy.
They waived David Olson, and they've signed.
Oh, they waived David Olson. Oh,
yes, they didn't make that.
I believe they will be overly cautious. I would be shocked if Joe Flacco plays in the preseason.
Right. Well, we got to leave it there. Ray, thanks for joining us. LeVar Ball was out of line again this weekend. We'll discuss that next.
Leave.
You know what? My props go to Shannon Sharpe, bro. Shannon Sharpe ethered this fool. He ethered Ray Lewis. Ethered him lovely. I enjoyed this right there. But like I was saying, let me just go ahead and recap on that. The thing of the matter is that the Ravens playing these caper tricks that have us thinking like, okay, they gonna get Colin Kaepernick. The same thing what Seattle was doing, and Pete Carroll came with that bullshit. Oh, we brought him in for a workout, but we can't sign him because he's a starter. My man Prince GMO was saying, like, Pete Carroll was just following the orders of the owner, John Snyder. Yeah, okay, I get that. But from what the circles I've got connects in to people who was in these circles in the league, that there is a concerted effort by executives and owners alike to try to keep Colin Kaepernick from not being in the NFL. I mean, to keep him from being in the NFL in this season. And this bootlick here, this coon ass nigga here, just helped that shit out. Like I said, he jealous of Colin Kaepernick, man. Just straight jealousy, yo. It's just like that. Let me just show you something real quick. Now, this was him and Kaepernick around 2012, 2013, somewhere around that time. Whatever like that. They was at some award show or whatever. Ray Lewis is he fake, man. He's always been fake. And anybody that basically watch my videos or subscribe to my channel, if you in the South, like I say, you from the South Florida area, whether you from Dade County, Broward, Palm Beach County, doesn't matter, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Lauderhill, Pembroke Pines, all the way down to Opelika, Miami Gardens, Hialeah, all the way down to South Miami, Kendall, Pinecrest, hello OJ, Cutler Bay, Homestead, Goulds, whatever. They could tell you about Ray Lewis, even so far as being over South Beach and all that bullshit. Motherfucker, he's a coon, man. He's always has been a coon, as always will be a coon. That's why I say, fuck this nigga, man. This is like this. He got straight jealousy L for Colin Kaepernick, man. Just same as with Shaq, same it is with a few of these other guys like Victor Cruz, Rodney Harrison, especially Jason Whitlock. Oh God, jeez, I'll tell you, you know. And I hate to go ahead to bring the colorism thing in there, but damn it, I'm just gonna hurt some people's feelings tonight. It's always got to be some of these brothers, with the exception of Sharpe and a few others, myself included. And you know, there happen to be these dark-skinned Negroes that get out here that buck dance and coon the hardest to keep somebody from Colin Kaepernick, whom Rodney Harrison, who said that, oh, he ain't black. Or some of these idiotic, ignorant trolls that like to come there and invade, talking about saying, oh, well, you know, his mama white, so he ain't black, he mixed. Being with the asinine comments like the ones Ray Lewis had. But Ray Lewis was shook. Shannon Sharpe shook his ass. He owned Ray Lewis. He owned them on the show today. And Skip Bayless on. Ray Lewis is so pathetic, he makes Skip Bayless look like Malcolm X. That's how pathetic he is. You know, the first thing he do when he comes to address the issues of police brutality against unarmed black men, women, and children, you ask this fool, his go-to is, oh, let's talk about the 300 murders down in Baltimore. He always going with that black on black, so-called black on black crime shit. Black on black crime ain't no such thing. It's a fucking myth. Crime is crime. Period. Okay? 1999, nigga, he was down in Atlanta when he stabbed those two guys. That was black on black crime if you want to be more specific. Son of a bitch. But see, once again, he's just hateful. You know, don't even want to help the brother. See, this is like this, you know, I'm a very firm believer in being my brother's keeper. I live by it. With every ounce of moral fiber in me. Ray Lewis ain't thinking about that. They gonna make sure they got their part in to go in here and try to go ahead and try to fuck our brother Colin Kaepernick over. Now hell, now when Ticket and LVZ Ness decide to run up there to New York, hell, I'll catch a motherfucking plane up there and meet them there. And we'll link up and we'll go there to the office ourselves. Me being from Miami, you already got that mentality. We don't give a damn. So it's gonna be whatever, whenever. Shoot. You know, this Ray Lewis he's a hater, man. He's always been a hater. You know, you trying to keep another brother from eating. You know, because all Colin Kaepernick did, he took a knee to protest the issues of police brutality that's going on around the country of killing unarmed black people. You know, Ray, people that look like you. Them same white people that you around here, you buck dance and cooning for, they don't even respect you. They don't respect you, Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith, Larry Elder, Jesse Lee Peterson, Dina Borelli, David Webb, David Clark, Herman Cain, Anthony Mackie, Sage Steele, and another coon too that's also came across my radar as well, that I want to go ahead and I really want to eat him, because I'm tired of talking about this nigga, this fuck nigga here. I'm really tired of talking about him. Somebody else that came across my radar, you know. And actually, he's been on my radar for a minute. Let me just, y'all give me a second. This bitch ass nigga here. This bitch ass motherfucker. Marcellus Wiley. He's another coon who's also recently trashed Kaepernick. And Michelle Beadle even said it right there on his face. I mean, first thing first, shout out to Black Reality TV. He got the audio to it. You can go to his channel and check out that recent video right there. He said the same thing, was saying that same bull crap that his big brother lookalike Shaq said, talking about, well, shoot, when he was winning, he wasn't protesting about none of this stuff then, but then when he started losing, that's when he started doing it. Bullshit. Let me explain something to you. Even back in 2012, 2011, Colin Kaepernick was always talking about the social justice thing and always was going to speak about black people. But the only thing about it, it was just under the radar. And he done enough research and he was going through changes at that time after the Super Bowl loss to the Ravens. So Marcellus Wiley don't know what the hell he talking about. It's always, like I say, it's always these old, I hate to use the term crispy, but it's always these old burnt shadow ass motherfuckers that's out here cooning and buck dancing the hardest. You know, but it's cats like Colin Kaepernick who get out there and ride the hardest for us. And also, not only Colin Kaepernick, cats like him. My man, Zoe Williams. Shout out to Zoe Williams, man. I like Zoe. You know what I'm saying? I listen to his show all the time. You know, it's always been like that. But then again, this is also a bad case of what you see these guys doing, like him, Ray Lewis. They all doing this. They all do what part of that sickness called the Willie Lynch syndrome. And part of that letter that I would use jealousy and envy to go ahead to have the Negroes fight each other. You had the light-skinned Negroes against dark-skinned Negroes, dark-skinned Negroes against light-skinned Negroes, male against female, female against male. You know, the ones that live good in the field and valley, that sort of thing like that. Read the Willie Lynch letter on the making of a slave. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the best books you could buy. It only costs like $4 on Amazon, or you could probably download the whole thing cheaper or whatever like that. And see, that's what Ray Lewis stuck for. Him, Michael Vick, all these motherfuckers, man. It's like I said, you know, you're looking at the Legion of Coons, man. You know, like I say, I'm gonna do a video on that. On like, you remember that 1970s? Anybody that grew up in the 70s as a kid, remember the Challenge of the Super Friends? You know, when you got the Legion of Doom characters coming out like in out of a dark void in space. You know, says like this: gather together from remote galaxies are 13 of the most ruthless supervillains in the world. And that's how I look at the Legion of Doom, the Legion of Coons. And the whole of Doom turns out to be the head of a raccoon. You know, I'm gonna do something like that though. You know, I'm saying like that. Put all their faces. I mean, shoot. Roland Martin can be Lex Luthor. Stephen A. Smith can be Sinestro. They both got that same hairline. Ray Lewis can be Bizarro because he ain't too bright. He does everything ass backwards. You know, Scarecrow could be Sheriff David Clark. Grodd, the Gorilla Grodd, could be Jason Whitlock. You know, shoot, Marcellus Wiley could be Solomon Grundy. Giganta and Cheetah, that's Sage Steele and Stacy Trash. You know, I mean, the coonery is real. Shoot, Michael Vick could be the Riddler. You know, these jokers, man. You know, oh boy. But the thing is, y'all saw it for yourself. Shannon Sharpe owned Ray Lewis. He owned him. I'm pretty sure after this, Shannon probably just saying subconsciously, Man, fuck this motherfucker. And probably giving him 2 double birds at him. You know, somebody that's supposed, you know, he trying to do all that, and then at the end you see he tried to do that fake preacher Martin Luther King shit. Let me tell you something, Ray Lewis, and let me tell you something to all you coons and you bed wenches and bed bucks. White people don't respect you, and they never will respect you. They don't respect no coons, because you show them right there that you don't even respect your own people, that you'll throw them under the bus just for a dime. And that's real pathetic, very pathetic. You know, you trying to do all you can to try to keep Colin Kaepernick from eating. And then on top of that, like you said, like, oh, when we talked about Colin Kaepernick, they came and consulted me first. Like, motherfucker, who is you? And if you gonna go sit down, you and your rapist son, don't go sit down somewhere, go to that prayer tower you got in Boca Raton, leg with that blondie, sit down and drink a cold glass of shut the fuck up. Ray Lewis, you really disgust me, man. Kudos to go to Shannon Sharpe, bro, for staying on there and keeping it 100. Cause Ray just did nothing but danced around the questions, and Shannon Sharpe was hitting his ass direct with it. Ray ain't even got no answer. He kept cutting them off, doing all this. You ain't finna out talk no cancer. Period. You know, even Skip Bayless looked at you sideways, and Skip Bayless got more heart than this old soft ass clown, man. Right now, boy, look here, Lakeland, y'all fucked up when y'all got this one out of the, you know. I'm just going, Ray Lewis, you just makes me sick to my stomach. I'ma just use this phrase in the famous words of Willie D. Your daddy your mama shouldn't have never had you, and your daddy should have pulled out.